Okay guys, it's time to have a heart-to-heart chat with old T2 and get some stuff out on the table. Going to have to consider coming back to YouTube. Didn't want to do it. I know I said I wasn't going to ever again. I know everybody predicted that I would be coming back in a few months, and it's been like half a year, so that was a pretty good long jaunt away. But as they say, a man is only as faithful as his options, and Blip has made some changes, and it's not really an option anymore. I wasn't even getting that many views on Blip anyway, because first of all, their search engine is broken. You can't search my old videos. It's really hard to find anything that I posted on there, so I wasn't getting any views. It was kind of pointless even messing with it. But also, Blip decided they didn't want video game videos, or they wanted to only allow videos that have like a weekly topic or some kind of like a show. Like you have to put on a show with certain kind of subject matter or something. I guess like I don't know what the hell are those guys' names, Shane Denton, Shane Dawson or something like that, puts on a show like it's always the same bullshit every time. They want stuff like that on Blip now instead of just whatever you want to make a video about. So can't go to any other site because that'd be like starting over again, and I didn't want to come back until I figured out exactly what I wanted to do, because I didn't like the way I used to make videos, which was all over the place. I'd make a video game video, then I'd make an atheist video, then I'd make like a pro cooking video, and just all over like different topics. Unless I could figure out a structure to maybe like do a video game on Monday and a cooking one on Wednesday and like a philosophy video on Friday or something like that, where it was all like scheduled, like a lot of these other popular YouTubers, then it would make more sense to come back. So I'm not really sure what I want to do at this point. I don't want to make a new channel and start over again because I've already got like 6,000 something subscribers. I think when I stopped making videos on YouTube back in like April or something, I had like 5,000. So did I gain like 1,000 subscribers for not even doing anything? That's pretty weird. So I'm not sure how that'll work. I'm not sure how YouTube works anymore. Like you put a video up, and then after its initial big chunk of thousands of views, they decide whether it's able to have ads on it, or unless you become a partner or producer or whatever first, then you can get ads on it from the beginning and get all those views counted as ad revenue. Or I'm not really sure how it all works. I have to look into it. I might actually try to get my old account back one more time, because something when they changed Gmail and Hotmail and combined, and then they lost my old email address that's associated with my old Teacher Darling account that was banned. I can't appeal that ban because they don't have my right email or something, and then I can't really go in and like delete old videos that had copyrighted stuff on them. And then you have the whole issue with this new stuff that's going into law, that they're trying to make it so that YouTube's going to be sued by every movie and video game company in existence because they have their copyrighted content on it or something. I don't know. A bunch of crap's going down. I don't really know what to do. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know. I really also want to kind of closely monitor my comments, because I have been banning people that were just commenting about me, saying I was going to leave and then coming back, and also people that are trying to drop my docs, which happens a lot. Which somebody had dropped my docs supposedly, and they had like the wrong address and phone number, so I just kind of let it go, because I'd rather have disinformation out than the right information be looked for. So I don't know. That's kind of an issue too. And then there's also the situation where somebody bought the old teacherdarlington.com domain, and they've been putting like a blog of my new videos from Blip on there. So if you haven't checked that out, check that out. And if you're the person that did it, introduce yourself and let me know what the deal is. It's pretty interesting, I think. I might get another website eventually. I've got an idea for a domain name, and maybe just a new name in general, because I kind of want to drop the Teacher Darlington thing because it's kind of old. And I got an idea. But anyway, I should start off by saying why I stopped making videos in the first place, which that only lasted like 2 months. So me and Double D were getting together at the time. I didn't think I was going to have time to make videos because I was just so into hanging out with her and her kid. And I pretty much quit playing video games for that 2 months too, because it was like I didn't care at all about video games when me and her were together. And let's see, that was about March and April, and then on his birthday in May we had this big fight, and kind of started talking again for like a second, but then she was in this big court battle to get custody of him, and then as soon as she did, here's what happened. This is kind of funny, because I don't understand why she's not talking to me right now. I don't understand why exactly, because her sister had made a comment on Facebook about, like a God comment. She always makes these comments about God, and I'm an atheist, and that was, like, she'd already mentioned it was a problem for me being an atheist. But I just said, you know, that's not, she said God's great all the time, which I really hate when people say God is good all the time or whatever, because it's obviously not true, especially if you read the Bible. I wasn't arguing the atheist point of view on this. I was just saying, hey, here's what the Bible actually says God does and did and thinks, so he's not good all the time. You should probably check into that. And then that just blew up in my face, and I haven't talked to her since. Like, she had messaged me on my phone a couple days before I posted that, but I didn't see the message, so apparently it was all about her getting custody of her kid, and she was all happy about it, and I didn't catch it in time, so now, I don't know. I was really looking forward to being this kid's dad, so to speak. Didn't really get to experience, like, the hard parts of being a dad, but for the 2 months that we were together, it was kind of cool. I kind of got to see what it was like being a dad to a 5-year-old. Pretty fun. So I got a couple of good months worth of good memories out of it. I'm really not sure if they're ever going to talk to me again, but I might send them something for Christmas. And it's kind of the day that we had this big fight. It's funny because she is really particular about things, and I think she just takes days where her hormones get out of whack or something, kind of like PMS, but on steroids, and she just turns into a crazy raving bitch. And she was mad at me because, one, I took a shower and left the shower curtain open. That was a big deal, real big deal. One, I left an apple juice container out of the refrigerator. And, you know, when you're in your own house, you kind of get this muscle memory situation going where you just kind of automatically do things without thinking, like putting things in the fridge and closing cabinet doors and whatnots. And I was in like her house, and I guess I wasn't used to it, and I forgot to put the apple juice back in the fridge, and apparently it poisoned it or ruined it or something, and she couldn't feed it to her child, and now everything's just all screwed up because of that. Like, there wasn't anything left in it anyway. I was going to drink the rest of the apple juice. I was going to drink the rest of it. And then I also left my sock on the dresser next to the bed. I was in the middle of the night. My feet got hot. I took a sock off. I was going to retrieve it in the morning. Slipped my mind for the time being. I'm sure when, you know, I got my shit together to leave, I would have remembered it. But she has this thing about feet, and feet gross her out. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. But that was also a big deal. And I accidentally deleted a lot of her emails trying to fix her computer that were really important. That was a big deal. And I did spank her dog, and she got pissed at that because the dog was like running all over the neighborhood and almost got hit by a van. And I was trying to teach it not to do that because I wanted it to live longer. That was a big deal too, I think. But then, like, when we kind of made up afterwards, like a few weeks later, she said, yeah, I also had to beat that dog because it was really getting out of control. So she did the same thing on that one, so I don't really think that one would count. But anyway, me and Double D seem to be over with. So I've kind of been in a mourning period from that. And also my grandma apparently is dying of cancer. So that's kind of going on too. And this whole thing about all of it kind of got me thinking about, you know, I just always think about stuff anyway from being an atheist and learning about life. And I've been thinking, like, the people you choose to be your family, you care about them more than your actual family. Like, my family right now, my immediate family, I don't have anything in common with them, really. Like, would I be friends with my parents if they weren't my parents? Probably not. People probably don't really think about that much, but it's kind of a sad thing, but it's true. Then I got to looking into, like, chemicals in the brain and why people do the things they do, and, like, women have this chemical, I think it's called oxytocin, the one that makes you not want to kill your kids when they start crying. It's like we evolved to care about our kids because it helps them live longer, because when kids cry, which they will do, I guess people used to just bash them against rocks and kill them until we developed this chemical that made us, like, addicted. It's like an addictive kind of chemical, which makes you addicted to people. And it's probably what makes me like Double D so much. Something about, like, when I used to stay at her house, like, the smell of stuff. Like, smell is like a really strong memory kind of thing. Like, her mom used to smoke cigarettes in her house, kind of smelled like cigarettes. So I kind of associate that with her. It's kind of weird. I think it's all, like, chemicals in the brain. So me and, I think Yomatsu were talking about how I didn't used to want to have kids, and now I kind of do. And I think it's all related to the oxytocin thing and how you choose your family. Because I don't want just kids in general. I want to have, like, her kid for a son and teach him stuff. It's kind of like how Shane Jensen has a thing for nostalgia with the Smurfs, and I like stuff from the 80s and music from the 90s. It all goes back to, like, when you have kids, you can kind of experience it one more time by showing them what you're into, what kind of stuff you're into. It's weird because my dad didn't really tell me, like, what kind of music he liked or what kind of shows he watched. I don't even know if they had cartoons when he was a kid. Those were like Steamboat Willie or some crap like that. But I can see the appeal of why people want to have kids. Who is yelling outside? The guy that was sitting on my air conditioner that time borrowed like a socket wrench from me, and he didn't bring it back. I should probably go check that out and see if that's him. But anyway, I kind of figured out that you guys, a lot of you that are like my old school fans, like started listening to my videos and podcasts and stuff when you were like in your formidable years. So I kind of raised some of you, or I got you thinking a certain way. I think that's kind of the point of life, is to propagate ideas, which is why I made videos to start out with, and probably why I should keep doing it. Because you guys, I guess, are kind of my family, even though most of you are probably gay faggots. Pretty much that's what I've concluded, is that I think I'm good at entertaining people, or expressing my ideas in a way that is entertaining. But I think my purpose, that I want my purpose in life to be, is to, I always have a lot of good ideas that I think need to be put out there, so they don't die off. So anyway, I think I'm going to be posting my Skyrim video onto YouTube. I posted on Facebook that I have a new Skyrim video coming out today, and people were saying, like, put it on YouTube, not Blip. So I'll probably be doing that. And I should also take this video as an opportunity to apologize for the mistakes I have made in persecuting Skyrim, saying it was a bad game. Because, I don't know, it's one of those games, it's like hard to understand at first because there's so many different things. Like when I was talking about, I went on my live stream and I was talking about how somebody came up to me in the game and they were vigilant of Stendar. I'm like, what the hell is a vigilant and what the hell is a Stendar? And then you talk to them, and they're like, oh, we are people that hunt Daedras. I'm like, well, what the fuck is a Daedra? It's just like answering questions with more questions. If you don't know the lore and everything behind the game, then it's really confusing. It's like one of those fantasy novels that you don't have any background in. Like, you gotta learn all these new races and new factions of people and what they're all mad at each other about and who these people are, how they all relate together. That's why I don't like to read, like, Mercedes Lackey kind of books, and who's that other author that's always writing like a ton. Like, when I look at novels, if an author has like 40 or 50 books, it looks to me like they're just churning out crap that they're just making up, and it's like not really well done. Like, if they have like less than 10 books, then they probably actually spent some time working on those and making them good. That's kind of how I choose authors. But I kind of got into the game. I don't know how it exactly started. I know when I had my first dragon fight, it was pretty awesome. Then I went out into the tundra and I found the giants and the mammoths, and I was fucking around with them. And then I had one of those random dragon encounters where they just like appear in the sky, and I was like, holy shit, what is this? And then like you hear, the way they did the dragons is really good, because you hear the like flapping of the wings and the kind of like off in the distance sort of thing. You think, what the hell is that? And you look around, you gotta find it, and then you gotta like aggro it or hide from it or whatever you want to do. And then they always fight you kind of different. Like, I fought one outside of Riften that was like flying around in little circles and blasting like ice on the lake, and he wouldn't come near the town because there were guards, and he was trying to like lure me out there and like piss me off. I think he attacked a cow at one point, and it was awesome. And you get some that come in and they land and they make a big row of dirt in the ground where they slid, you know, and they you have to stay a certain distance close to them or they can breathe on you, or else they take off flying again and they come in and they blast you, or they instead of breathing just plain old fire or ice, they'll breathe like a ball of fire or ice that explodes sometimes. Or they'll just bite you and one-shot you and just sling your body into the hills. And it's always different. Sometimes they'll land and they'll perch and they'll breathe fire on you and then they'll take off. And they do different stuff. It's almost like it's realistic dragons. What was the other part of the game that I really liked? Probably when I got my Wood Elf really good sneaking and bow skills, where you can just go through and just ragdoll people, one-shotting them with sneak attacks and just be a super ninja. That's pretty fun. That's not what it was. I just remember while I was editing this. You guys didn't tell me about this. See, when I started asking you guys at the beginning, when I started playing, like, what's so good about Skyrim and Oblivion and all this stuff, you guys didn't tell me. Because you guys aren't good at expressing your ideas or your thoughts. You guys don't know how to explain why things are good. Which is, I guess, why I'm popular, because I know how to do that. You guys should have told me that you got these dudes. See, everybody was talking about the graybeards and the gray manes. And I was like, what are all these gray things? What are you talking about? It's like a bunch of Gandalfs. And that was what was going through my brain. But you guys got to tell me. These are really powerful dudes that learn to shout in a dragon's language that has all these special superpowered abilities. And there's like these dragons from the past that fought off the Nords, and they shouted them down with their voices and have this Thuum voice thingy. And it's like, that's what the whole game's about, really, is the Dragonborn guy has this ability to absorb souls of dragons and learn how to speak dragon languages and shout them down with special voice powers. That's what it's about. You guys didn't tell me that at all. You're talking about gray cloaks and gray manes and storm cloaks and a bunch of words I've never heard of. I don't know what anything like that is. That's not how you explain something to somebody that doesn't know anything about it. Ah! Bakaro! Shati day. I don't know why I say that all the time. It also would have helped if you could have explained the races to me better, because it's almost like they stole things from the past sort of mythologies and kind of incorporated them. Like, the Bretons are supposed to be the British, the Britons, I think, and the Nords, and the Nordic, the Norse, the Vikings are kind of the same. Then you've got the Khajiit and the Redguards, which are like from the Middle East, they're like Saracens. And then, unlike the cats and the lizard people, all have to stay outside of town because they're like racist, and they don't allow them to stay inside the town really unless they're rich or something. This all would have helped out. And then I didn't like how there's like high elf, dark elf, and wood elf, like 3 types of elves, but there's no dwarf class. You can't play a dwarf. But there is dwarf ruins in the game, but you don't see any dwarves because they all died off. Why would you kill off dwarves in your fantasy world? That's dumb. So the racist thing could have used some work. And then there's also the gods thing. And then there's Daedric gods or princes, which is like people from this hell world, and they have like, they're kind of like demons. There's like too much supernatural stuff. You got, let's see, there's all these gods that worship the old gods, and then there's the new gods, and then you got the Daedric princes. Then you got the Dremora. Is that like the minor demons or something? And then like Talos. He is kind of a clone of probably Odin, like a Viking god. Then you've got, what was the other one? Dibella is probably more like an Aphrodite type character. And then you've got, okay, the Daedric princess, like, what's the one that the dwarves, no, the orc guy, he kind of reminds me of, Marduk. And then, Bolag Mal kind of reminds me of Magog. And then Boethia kind of reminds me of Baal, sort of. Maybe not Baal. So all these weird, like, ancient gods that they kind of stole aspects from and put them into the game and renamed them. Stendar, I don't really know much about. And what's the other one? It's like a, I can't remember. But anyway, all of this stuff is kind of similar to real life stuff. They just kind of changed some stuff. Except cat people and lizard people. I guess the lizard people are kind of like the Draconians from TSR Dragonlance books, but... Oh, here's another problem with the classes, is that instead of just calling them what they are, they give them these special names that you have to figure out what they mean. Like wood elves are Bosmir, and dwarves are Dwemer, and dark elves are Dunmere. Just call them what they are. Call them dark elves, wood elves, and dwarves. That way you don't have all these weird words that people have to learn. And it's less confusing, and you have to, like... I guess it makes it more immersive if you learn another whole language. Like people that are Trekkies get into learning Klingon, but we don't need that much kind of stuff. I don't know, I kind of started reading some of the books in the game that you pick up, and some of the stories like King Olaf and the Dragon were good. And the one about the Boethia, Daedric Prince, or whatever, God, whatever the guy is. It's pretty interesting. Everywhere you go, there's like new stuff happening, always something going on. Like you get distracted by distractions of distractions, and you can never actually get the thing you're trying to do done because you're led off all these different rabbit trails of stuff, and it's really addictive. So yeah, Skyrim is actually one of the best games ever made, probably, and not a piece of crap like I thought it was. I also tried Resident Evil 5 a while back, and it wasn't as bad as I thought, I guess. I didn't really stay with it, but I don't know. I can be wrong sometimes. I admit that. Apparently Batman Arkham Asylum, or Arkham City came out, and I'm downloading that right now, so I guess I'll make some videos about that soon, and of course when Diablo 3 comes out, I'll have to make videos about that, so eventually I was going to have to come back on YouTube or somewhere anyway, so I guess it was inevitable. Unless the world ends in 2012, which the way things are going now with politics and the environment and the economy, the world may very well end in 2012, and all of this won't really matter at all anyway, because we'll all be dead. So, without further ado, I guess I will upload my new Skyrim video, and I will look into YouTube. Maybe I will just start posting my old videos, or at least the ones that don't have any copyrighted stuff on them. Maybe I could do like, I don't know, like a new video every 3 days, and in between, I'll post like an old video a couple times, and try to get my account back to where I have most of my videos on there, except for the Gilmore Saga, which I can't post because I promised her I would not post those anymore. She saw them. She liked them at first, but then she was like, well, that's kind of a lot of personal information. She didn't really want it on there. So, can't put that back up, but everything else that doesn't have copyrighted stuff in it, I might go through and re-edit some of them and take the copyrighted parts out. Maybe do like a best of compilation of some of the videos that have a lot of copyrighted stuff in them. And we'll see what we could do. If anybody has any ideas for a podcast, like a way to do it, like Joe Rogan's podcast, I really like. He uses this thing called Libsyn or something, and I like Lavender Hour, which is Duncan Trussell and Natasha Leggero. If you've ever seen that, lavenderhour.com, it's amazing. They do a thing where they'll do like a bunch of free ones, and they'll put like a pay episode. It's like $1 to listen to, like a bonus episode. And I don't know, I don't really want to do that, but sometimes you can get them mixed in with iTunes or Stitcher on your phones. You can listen to podcasts. I really like the podcast format, and I really want to get into doing podcasts, but I can't get normal guests. I can't figure out a way to get like people to call into the show. If I could get call-ins, like the Atheist Experience does, I would do like an atheist podcast all the time. I would have like Christians on there, and I would argue with them or something. But I don't know. I don't know how to set that up. I don't know the dealios. So I want to do something, but I don't know exactly how to do it. Oh, and some of you were wanting a new pro cooking video, which I didn't really make a whole video, but I did take a little bit of footage from the last time I cooked something. Liver and onions and cornbread, so here's that. Hey guys, just thought I'd show you what I'm cooking tonight. Not really a pro cooking video, because this probably grossed a lot of people out, but some people like it. I'm making fried chicken livers with some greens and cornbread, so have a look at that. And I got some liver and onions cooking in there. Over here we have some mixed greens with some scrambled eggs mixed in. And in the oven we got a nice cornbread going on. And I decided to make some cornbread with, I took the regular recipe and I threw in a little bit of flour and I threw in a can of creamed corn to add a little bit of corniness to the cornbread. Should be pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. But it is making a mess. I got livers. I actually was washing my dishes, and I had the little can of livers that I had on the sink because I was rinsing them off before I put in the flour, and I tipped it over into the dishwasher and the dishwater, and I guess I got a little soapy, so I had to rinse all those off, and it was pretty gross. Got bloody like liver juice in my dishes, but other than that, it's pretty sweet.